Hey lovely people, today's video or blog post, depends on where you saw this first, is about disappointment and regret. Two emotions that are useless, like seriously useless, and we all feel them sometime. This is going to be a long one, so take a cup of tea, coffee, cocoa, turn your phone on silent, close the curtains, and snuggle up somewhere comfy. Welcome back to the place to be for real conscious creators. Real because you have chosen to take full responsibility for your life and not just sometimes when it suits you or when things go well. Real conscious creators. That's what we all are in here. As you know, I will go into more depth on the topics that I talk about here on YouTube and on my blog, on my paid Patreon, which is a membership. And you can also do all the work yourself too, like you don't have to get the paid Patreon. But for the ones that want to be guided, check out the link in the description. And now let's get into it. Disappointment and regret. So we all know that these emotions are nonsense. And how do we know that they are nonsense? How can there be disappointment if everything is now? How can there be disappointment if everything is now and you can choose what you want at any moment anew? How can there be regret if you know that what you have experienced is not set in stone? You can revise and you can have a different life experience just by choosing to have a different life experience. So I will tell you how. And I will also tell you what happened to me recently that will give you some insight and relief. So I have two accounts to discuss. One is about clothing and one is about a specific person. I was holding on to him like a pitiful pit bull. And let's start with the clothes. So I've given away a lot of clothes. Like really a lot of clothes in the last couple of years. It's unbelievable how much things I didn't feel like wearing anymore and regretted later for giving away. And things I still wanted to wear but somehow still gave away. And I think it's obvious that a version of me at times reared her regretful head and she was reminiscing about these clothes. And me, like the bigger part of me, not understanding why I kept going back into that story. Because it doesn't feel good to not feel good about things that are already gone. And then I think it was Saturday. Today it is Monday. I was reading a book on my Kindle by Catherine Ponder. And it was so great what I was reading. And it gave me the exact solution to my back and forth on the clothes that I feel sorry about giving away. Like magic. Well, actually not like magic. Magic. So this is what Catherine Ponder, has to say in her book, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. Through release, your power of attracting good is greatly increased. One word of caution here about attitudes toward the tangible things you release. I once felt led to go through my closet and give away most of the clothes therein to my sister. These clothes were perfectly good, but I had tired of them, and no new clothes had recently appeared. So I felt by passing them on, I was making way for the new clothes. After mailing these clothes to her, I felt happy and expectant about the new clothes I was so sure that I would manifest. But for a number of weeks, nothing happened. Finally, I realized that I was still mentally hanging on to the clothes I had sent her, thinking, If I had that dress or suit I sent sis, I would wear it today. It was then necessary for me to re-release what I thought I had already released. In my mind, I went over every item I had sent her and declared to each individual piece of clothing mentally, I fully and freely release you. I completely lose you and let you go. So far as I'm concerned, you have served your purpose in my wardrobe, and I no longer need you. You are now in your perfect place. Thereafter, new and more beautiful clothes appeared very fast in my closet. It was as though a magnetic influence had gone to work for me. A friend who knew nothing of my empty closet quietly came to me and said, I have some money I wish to share with you. When I prayed about what to do with this particular amount, the only thought that kept coming to me was that I should give it to you. Perhaps for some clothes? You appear well supplied with clothes, but the thought persisted, and so here it is with my blessing. And that started the flow of substance, which then came to me from here, there, and everywhere. Some articles I had written had not been accepted, and so in doubtful but hopeful mind I had revised them weeks earlier and resubmitted them. Now they were accepted and I was paid. Several people saw items while shopping and thought, that looks like Catherine. They purchased them for me as gifts. And in each instance, it was items of clothing I had been mentally imaging as hanging in that closet. One friend back home went on a shopping trip there. We had not corresponded in some time, so she had no conscious way of knowing about the empty closet. Nevertheless, packages arrived with gifts of clothing for me, resulting from her shopping trip. And she wrote later, I just kept getting the feeling you could use these various items, and somehow I could not resist getting them for you. I shall be very happy if you can use them. I learned quite a lesson from this experience. None of this happened until I freely released the clothes I had sent my sister. A gift that is not freely released after being given is not a gift at all. If you cannot give freely, don't bother. But if you do give, be sure you graciously release what you have given. Otherwise, no good has been done and no vacuum has been formed. Oh my goodness, this was exactly it. And how could it be any different that I would find the exact answer to my question in this book? And you know what one of my mentors once said? And she writes it actually also in one of her books. The moment you see it is the moment the passage is added, in this case to the book. Perhaps you also remember accounts of having read something for the first time, even if you have read that book multiple times and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I don't think I've ever read this before. And that is because it was added then. That's how amazing our reality works. So, when you are a match for the answer will appear. Now onto the amazing second epiphany. The SP that I was so hell-bent on getting back. I have spent so much time on doing the work and nothing really to show for, or so I thought, which obviously is not entirely true. But from the standpoint of someone that I was at the time in victim mode, that was what I was seeing. I had amazing successes and amazing failures, depending on which version of me is doing the accounting. And even with all the knowledge under my belt then, I could still feel that pang of disappointment. And I understand why too. Something else, knowledge-wise, and definitely person-wise, is making its way to me. The other day, it felt like everything went wrong. I was in Auckland and in CBD, and I knew that it didn't go wrong because something was wrong. It was all for me, but I couldn't quite see how yet. So after a series of incidents that were kind of annoying to me, but I decided to keep myself calm, magic started to unfold, so I was calmer again. And I decided to listen to the third time of a coaching call, a recording of a coaching call. And all of a sudden, I understood the thing. And now I could also see why everything went wrong. Wrong, not really wrong, obviously. Because if it had gone right, I had not taken the time to listen to this coaching call again. And I would not have heard and felt on a cellular level in my body what I now heard. So my coach had answered a question on disappointment that I had asked the week before, and she was sharing from her own experience when she got a message at the exact moment that she was thinking about disappointment in her own life. And actually, she hadn't released that disappointment yet. She didn't even know that she still had some disappointment about this thing. And this is what the message said. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, close your eyes and feel this. Really feel it. The universe made you wait because what you are in the process of receiving is bigger than what you asked for. You had to be elevated first in order to meet the frequency of your desires. The synchronicities are proof that what needs to happen in the background is already in the works. And it feels as though it all took a little long to arrive, but what's meant for you was calling you all along. You're just now finally stepping into it. Take a deep breath. I mean, come on. Can you feel that? I'm getting goosebumps again. When she shared this on the call, and I really felt and heard and felt and heard, and I thought, that's it. That's it. This is why the stuff with him was never going to be for me. You could argue, yeah, but you're a conscious creator. You could create him in a different way. And while that's true, I could have created him in a different way. I am so happy that I didn't. Because all the people that have been in my life since then, I would have never, ever have wanted to miss that for anything. And not only that, the people that are in my life now, making their way towards me, that I'm already in touch with, and that are close, they're just amazing. So everything is always for us and perfect. So this was a very long one today, and I can imagine that you have some questions about it. So if you do, head over to my Patreon and let's chat there. And if you don't, I'm sending you much love anyway, and I see you in the next. Ciao.